get as many cameras on as we possibly can. That way we can do a little bit of interaction. That would be great. I thank those who are on camera right now, but I'd love to see some more faces. But anyhow, I went to this training, and the whole aspect of the training was him showing us his processes, right? Him showing us his systems. And there was two big things I captured from him. One, the fortunes in the follow-up. He taught me what it was to have a really good follow-up system, nonstop. So the thing he taught me was having an end-of-day meeting with yourself. If you're not having an end-of-day meeting with yourself, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're losing out on thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that you could be making on a weekly basis, right? So what I do is at the end of my day, I have a 30-minute meeting with myself. Okay, I call it the posting and planning meeting. Okay, the PP, posting and planning. Why? Because what I'm doing at the end of the day is I'm putting on my call list reschedules. I'm making sure people who rescheduled are back on my call list, so they're the top of my priority the next day to call. I'm putting in my pipeline, right? My book, my pipeline, my hot list, people that I opened up cases on, right? These are people that I did meet with, I did have a discussion with, did potentially have a full fact-finding meeting with. I'm putting them in there as well too, okay? And I'm case designing any meetings that I have scheduled for the next day, right? I'm putting together the illustrations and anything that I need for the very next day. That's so important because think about how many people get on your calendar the first time, but then they reschedule, and for whatever reason, they don't make it back on your calendar the second or third time. Think about how many people do that. See, a lot of us believe that we just need to be calling new people, new people, new people. New people are important, but the first people you need to be calling every single morning are the people that you have an open opportunity with. So think about it like a funnel, right? Think about it like a funnel, right? The bottom of the funnel has the highest probability of closing some business. These are the people that you're about to collect a check on. The top of the funnel are your new leads or your new referrals or, you know, someone you haven't even contacted yet. If I wake up every morning, the first person I'm reaching out to is the person closest to the bottom of the funnel. That's the person that, you know, if you think about it, it's the person that I've already done a presentation on. I've already presented the products. I've already fact-finded, and they're waiting to give me a yay or a nay. That's my first off the list. The next after that are the people that have rescheduled on me. These are people that I've spoken to on the phone. They've said yes to a meeting, but for whatever reason, they've rescheduled. That's the next person on my list to call before I go to my next person, which is my referrals, which are the people, or my leads, which are the people that I haven't talked to at all yet. So people that I've already met with that need to decide, people that I've spoken to but rescheduled on me, and people that I've never talked to. That's my priority first. A lot of people make a mistake and they'll call those new numbers first, new numbers first, new numbers first, forgetting that there's still fortune in the follow-up. There's still fortune in contacting people that you haven't, you know, that haven't decided yet, but you've had contact with yet. You've had contact with these guys already yet. And they either said yes to a meeting, or you had a meeting and they haven't said yes to the check, but you've had already contact with. That's your priority list, fortunes in the follow-up, right? The other thing that I do in regards to follow-up, so that you guys know, is at the first of every single month, I look at all my birthdays. I look at birthdays and I look at annual reviews. Okay, you should have two books. One book, you know, I mean, look how simple it can be. I mean, the simple, you know, $2 notebook, right? Two books, a green one and a red one, right? Your red one could be your pipeline. That's your hot list. That's why it's red. It's hot. Every time you meet with somebody and you take a fact finder and you gather some facts and you learn that the person is interested in purchasing something, whether you buy them, whether you sell them or you don't, they need to go on that list. They need to go on that book. And that book could be divided up into months, January, February, March, April, all the way to December, right? And so the month that you're in is the name that is the month that you're putting their name on. That's your hot list. The green book is your book of business, your BOB, your B-O-B, book of business. These are the people that actually are clients already of yours. These guys are already clients of yours. Where do you put them? In the month of their birthday. You put them in the month of their birthday. And as you build your clients, and your clients will start to realize, man, I got, you know, 200 clients, 300 clients, 400 clients. In the beginning, okay, I get it. 4 clients, 5 clients. You got to start somewhere, but you put them in the month that you're in. Why? Because at the first of the month, you know what you're doing? You're looking at your hot list and you're saying, okay, who are all my follow-ups for, like right now, we're about to teeter, we're tiptoeing into July right now, right? So you know what I'm doing is I'm looking at my hot list, my red book into July, and I'm going, okay, who's hot on my list for July? Anybody on that hot list are people that maybe I met with January, February, March, April, whatever, May, June, and they, for whatever reason, they decided it wasn't the right time, but they wanted us to follow up with them later on. So for whatever reason, I put them in July follow-up. I'm following up with those guys because I've already met with them. They just didn't take action the first time that I met them, right? That's a list. The second list I'm looking at is my birthday lists. Which one of my clients have a birthday that's coming up? Which one of my clients have a birthday that's coming up? Why? Because I'm going to call them up and I'm going to schedule annual reviews. Why? Because fortune's in the follow-up. You sell your clients 4 to 6 times in your entire career with them. 4 to 6 times. Let me ask some of the veterans who have had a license for a couple of years now. How many of you guys have sold? How many? Raise your hands or unmute yourself if you've sold a client more than once. They've come back for an additional policy. Okay, isn't it easier the second time around? Isn't it easier? They already trust you, right? They already believe in the company, right? You're either reminding them of their goals or they're contacting you because they need more. But it's so much easier the second, third, fourth, and fifth time around. The hardest sale is the first one. And you statistically will sell your clients 4 to 6 times in your career. And here's another crazy thing. Your first sale is never, ever, 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 I repeat, it's never, ever, ever your biggest sale. Never your biggest sale. So how do you capture that? You have to capture that with a system. You have to capture. And that's what this individual taught me. You have to capture that. I wish I remembered his name, man. You have to capture that with a system. He showed me those two little books. It's a CRM system is really what it is. It's a paper CRM. That's all it is. It's a little paper CRM. You get 12 little divider tabs. January, February, March, April, May, right? Divide up the sheets accordingly. You know, a 12th, a 12th, a 12th. So it's divided up among every month. And that's your hot list. That's your hot list. And so at the end of, so in the beginning of the month, right? I'm looking at my pipeline for the month. I'm looking at my birthdays for the month. That list, that's my hot list. I know out of those 2 lists, when you got a thick enough list, you're going to get 20 meetings for the month out of that alone, between birthday reviews and follow-up meetings, right? But then at the end of the day, your posting and planning day, you're looking at your day. You're looking at the last 24 hours that you worked. And you're saying, okay, who on my calendar, right? Because that's what you're really looking at. You're looking at your calendar. Who on my calendar rescheduled? They need to go back on my call list. I need to get them back on the calendar. Who on my calendar did I meet with and opened up a case on? They need to go in my pipeline. They need to go in my pipeline, right? Who on my calendar here did I close? They need to go in my book of business. But they're always going somewhere. They're always going somewhere. So people go from a list to a calendar. I don't know what kind of calendars you guys use. Like I use a digital calendar. That is like that's my lifeline between my pipeline, my book of business, and my calendar. That's where you're going somewhere there. You're going in you've got to tell me, Tony, I'm not interested. I want nothing to do with insurance. I hate the fact that you're bald, black, and short before I get you off my list. I mean, it's true. You got to tell me, even the people that are like, no, it's not the right time. Okay, cool, no problem. You know what I do with people that tell me it's not the right time? I just move them 3-4 months ahead in my pipeline. You know, and I kind of selectively choose it. Like, you know what? I'll call you 3 months from now. Just a quick follow up. Boom. Or you know what I mean? Like I'll just move them. Sometimes what I'll do if they're not a client and I know that I've moved them around 2-3 times, is I'll move them to their birth month. Why? Because just because they're not a client doesn't mean you can't have a birthday lunch with somebody. And you'd be amazed what buying somebody a $10 sandwich and taking them out to lunch and remembering their birthday actually does for that relationship. You'll be amazed what that does. You'd be amazed. Now lunches. Let's talk about lunches for a minute before I get into the training itself, because I don't want you to get confused with lunches. Lunches needs to be profitable for you guys. I remember I made that mistake. I was like, oh, I can go to lunches and I'm working, and man, I go to these like expensive lunches. I end the week, and I'm like, man, I spent $200 worth of lunches and I didn't get a single client. Like, that's not what you want either. You got to be strategic about it, and you got to work well with your calendar. So when I say work well with your calendar, here's what I mean by working well with your calendar. Schedule an 11 o'clock, a 12 o'clock, and a 1 o'clock lunch. That's 3 lunches in one day. It's okay to pick the same location or neighboring locations. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're scheduling those meetings, you're going in there for the purposes of meeting. You're not going in there for the purposes of chowing down. You can't not have something in front of you, but your focus is the meeting, not the food. Right? That's where like salads come in perfectly. That's where like a small soup comes in perfectly, right? And then maybe the last one is a half a sandwich or whatever. Here's another thing. Statistically, I think maybe once in my entire career did all 3 meetings confirm and meet. So if you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I could do 3 lunches in one day. Trust me, 1 or 2 of those are going to reschedule on you. They're going to reschedule on you. It's going to happen. I don't care how many times they tell you, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I promise it's going to happen. I think one time ever I had the 11, the 12, and the 1 o'clock all show up, right? But it's okay. Have those lunches. Sit down with people. Break bread with them. That's what you're doing. You're breaking. There's a psychology to sales. You're breaking bread with them. How's everything been going? If it's an annual review, you're bringing with you your old fact finder, a new fact finder. You're bringing with you a budget sheet, which should be in your fact finder, right? You're bringing with you copies of their existing policies. And you know what you're bringing with you as well? Copies of some conversions. If they bought term, bring with you a couple IUL illustrations that can convert or some permanent whole life policies, whatever product they can convert to. Like Foresters converts into Smart UL, so bring with you some Smart UL illustrations, right? So a lot of term companies that we're working with sell IUL, so bring with you some IUL illustrations. Bring them with you. Let them know this is the potential of what your term policy can do, but this is based on you doing it now, on your current age, not 5 years from now. Bring that with you for your annual reviews. Re-review. Where I love to find business in an annual review is in a new budget. I want to see if there's more discretionary dollars, number 1. Number 2, I want to see if there's any life-changing events. Are there new children involved? Was there a marriage? Was there a divorce, unfortunately? Was there a relocation? Is there a new job? Those are all life-changing. I want to know if those things have happened. If they are, where are the opportunities? You change jobs. Is there an old 401k? You change jobs. Is the benefit packet the same? You just got married. Congratulations. Have you merged your finances? Are you planning to merge your finances? Have you thought about retirement planning? Have you thought about children? You just had a baby. Boom. I mean, God. Oh, God. If I can get a list of everybody who just had a baby, when they had it, my Lord Jesus. That'd be amazing. That's the perfect time to catch them. I'm serious. But that annual reviews is meant for that. They're in a happier mood. It's their birthday. You're buying them lunch. You remembered. How thoughtful of you, whatever. Those little extra steps, right? Call the restaurant up, let them know, hey, or what I'd say what I do for my family. I'm notorious for doing this for my family. They're just trying to catch on. We go out to eat, on their birthday month. And at one point or another, I'll leave to go to the restroom and I'll stop and talk to the host and say, hey, listen, tell my server that there's a birthday person right here on the table. Make a big shabazz out of it, like a big one, right? Any of y'all ever been to Roadhouse Grill? Roadhouse, anybody? Roadhouse? They got that horse that you sit on. Caught my 19-year-old on his birthday. We took him there. I was like, let's go get you some steaks. Okay. And he caught on. He's looking around every time I leave. So what I did is I went to the bathroom and I called the hostess from the bathroom because he was peeping me. Right? He's like, is he gonna do it? And I called the hostess. So then I came, sat back down. He thought, oh, I'm in the clear. Right? Finished eating. They bring this big old saddle, everybody coming in with music and cake and everything. And I got a 19-year-old, 6'4", on a saddle singing happy birthday. Anyways, that's what we're supposed to do as parents, I guess. But what I'm getting at is do the same thing with your clients. Right? Don't embarrass them, but it's okay to let the hostess know, hey, there's a birthday. Can you bring a little cake with a candle and have somebody sing happy birthday? Cool. Those little things, guys, I promise you, they set you apart. They set you apart from the 4 or 5 other agents that's going to call them throughout the year. Don't think your clients aren't going to get called by other agents. They will. Don't think it. They will. It's not a probability. It's a certainty. Don't think that they're not going to have an illustration in their back pocket that's $5 cheaper than the one you sold them. They will. So what retains your client is the relationship, not the product. It's the time that you spent with them. You know something I tell my clients when I sell them, when like on my last visit, the delivery of the policy, the last referrals that I'm gonna get, I tell them, I go, listen, I want you to know something. In the next year, the next 365 days, you're gonna cheat on me. And they typically go, what do you mean by that? Here's what's gonna happen. Somebody younger, somebody taller, somebody better looking is gonna show up at their door. They're gonna knock on the door. They're gonna open the door. They're gonna have with them a sexier illustration of an insurance policy than the way I just sold you. And you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna ask you for a copy of what I sold you. And you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna give them the cookie. You're gonna give them the cookie. You're gonna cheat on them. You're gonna let them in the door. Right? Now, typically the client starts kind of, giggling at this a little bit. No, it ain't gonna happen. No, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And here's what's gonna happen. When you show them your policy and when they show you yours, you're gonna remember instantly the moment that happens, how much time and energy you and I spent together, how much I got to know you, how you're gonna remember exactly why we put this exact dollar amount of insurance in place, because we actually spoke about what we want this money to do in the event of. And I'm one of the few individuals that knows what you want this money to do in the event that something happens. And when that happens, guilt's gonna fall all over you. You're gonna go, man, it doesn't matter to me that this younger, taller, and more handsome person just walked in my door with an illustration that supposedly is better. I have a relationship established with Tony. You see, my clients and I are wifey material. We're not side chicks. We're here for the long haul. I literally tell them just like that. You know how many times that saved me? You know how many times I've had clients call me up and be like, Tony, I almost cheated on you. You're right. That dude walked in the door. It was referred by my cousin. I couldn't believe it, man. They were showing me the cookie. I almost took it. Temptation hit me. But I didn't do it. I stayed faithful to you, Tony. Good. Refer me to the guy who can refer me to him. I want to recruit him. You know what I mean? But that saves you. Those little things, guys. Those little things save you. God, I wish I remembered his name, man. He taught me that. That conference training that I went to taught me fortune is in the follow-up. Fortune's in the follow-up. Those two little itty-bitty notebooks, from a red book pipeline to a green book of business. Green book of business, red book pipeline. 12 divider tabs, January through December. Start of the month, take a look at what's in one of them. End of the day, a posting planning 30-minute meeting with yourself to take your calendar and literally upload it to where it needs to go. You rescheduled on me, you're getting back on a call list so I can call you bright and early tomorrow morning. You met with me, there's an open case, you're going into my pipeline. You closed on a case, you're going into my book of business. And this starts to get so thick and so big, it becomes valuable. This renewals come from what? Your book of business, your clientele. Sales come from what? Your pipeline. How thick is your pipeline? You can start looking at your business and you can start predicting. When you go into the month and you look at your pipeline, you're like, man, I got 40 names in here. And statistically, you're closing on 20% of them. You could already predict what you're going to have happen to you that month by doing that. But it only happens if you have an end of day posting and planning 30-minute session. Don't be that person that says, well, I'll just do it at the end of the week. You're going to forget so much valuable data throughout the days, throughout the week, that when that day comes that you want to do your end of week, posting and planning, you're only going to capture 30, maybe 50% of it. But if you do a little bit every day, 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 boom, you capture all your info. My 30-minute session also was where I uploaded my numbers into my full-timers tracking sheet, right? How many calls did I make? How many referrals did I get? How many appointments did I have? How many fact finders? How many leads did I buy? That tracking sheet that we do for Monday full-timers, that's where I uploaded my numbers at the end of the day. So every day it gets a little bit, and at the end of the week, I total it all up and I'm ready for my Monday morning meeting. That was the first lesson that person taught me. That was a huge lesson. The second thing, which is really the main reason I got into this training, was selling descriptively. So the first thing I gave you was the technical side. Treat it like a business, right? Don't go at this casually. Don't go at this, I can tell a casual and a retired agent a mile away because you give them a lead and they're like, oh, okay, cool, send me his name, put him on a piece of paper. But they don't have a system. I don't care if you have a digital system. I don't care if you have a paper system. I'm showing you a cheap paper system. I've obviously gone up since then, and I use a digital system. Okay, I use Jarvis. I use a CRM system. You know what I mean? Like I can pull reports on Jarvis for all the birthdays of the month. I can create follow-ups on. I mean, it's gone digital. But if you're not a digital person, this is gold right here. This is gold right here, guys. I mean, it's solid gold. That's the first thing. That's the technical side. Now let's talk about the art side of the business. The art, right? The first side was the technical black and white science side of it, we'll call it. This is the art side, the next side. You've got to learn how to sell descriptively. This is how this individual began this training with me. And it's killing me not to remember his freaking name. I can see his face, I can everything. 1.2 million personal pen this guy was doing. I mean, he was legit, he was solid. I think he was one of the top 10 in the industry, not the company, the industry. I'm talking like $1 million round table type guy. Like, man, I wish I would pay to have him come and talk to the organization if I can remember his freaking name. Anyways, second thing he taught me was how to sell visually. I mean, how to sell descriptively. He said this, he says, you know you're doing the right thing. You know you're doing a good job and you're on the right path when you can sell an IUL or a whole life without showing an illustration. Think about that. And we were all kind of like stuck because here's the problem. A lot of people look at an illustration as their handicap tool. I need this to sell it. No, you don't. It's nothing but it's a piece of paper with a bunch of numbers on it. We're the only crazy people that get excited about the numbers that are on there. Your client doesn't get excited about it. Your client gets excited by you, not by the piece of paper with a bunch of numbers on it. They could care less. So he said this, he says, try to sell to a blind man. If you can sell to a blind man, you can sell to anyone, right? And so think about it. What environments do we sell blind? Sales over the phone. You've got to be extra descriptive in your verbiage. You've got to be extra descriptive in how you explain things. You've got to paint them a picture. That's what you're doing. You're painting them a picture while building a relationship with them. Because remember, the three things that you're selling in your first meeting, you, the company, and the product, right? But the first one is you. Don't think that they're not thinking, man, this guy's the person in charge of my life insurance. If I'm not here, is this person going to do the right thing with my family members and this money? Am I getting the right plan to begin with? Like you still got to sell yourself. And the way that I've best been able to sell myself is just speaking genuine from the heart. I don't impose my opinions. There's few times I can remember in my first couple of years, I made some serious mistakes because I imposed my opinion. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. When my son was first born, right? My son is my first, my oldest, right? When he was first born, I was on dad mode. I was on dad mode, on steroids dad mode. To me, everyone and their mother needed life insurance. If you were a dad, boy, you needed insurance. Why? Because you're a dad, damn it. That's why. Some people don't think that way. Honestly, some people genuinely don't think that way. I remember I came into a property and casualty agency. I have a great relationship with this individual, by the way. He taught me such a valuable lesson. Who is knocking on my door? Some little itty bitty person. Hang on 1 second. Probably somebody from my kids. Hold up. Hi. Anything I play? Yeah, sure. What's your name? Ready? Yeah, 1 second. Nikki! Nick! There's a Daniel outside that wants to see if you want to go out and play. Go outside and say hi to him. That's so cool. There's a little kid named Daniel there. He knows your name. Apparently you're that cool in the neighborhood. He wants to see you want to go out and play. Okay? If you go all the way over there, you got to go with your sister and the bicycle and your cell phone. He's right there. Okay, go talk to him. I'm working, okay? Sorry. That's kind of cool. Anyways, where was I? What was I talking about? Somebody refresh me real quick. PNC. Okay, good. Yeah, so I went to go see this guy, and I was a dad. He was a dad. He was in his 30s. He ran a pretty big property and casualty insurance agency. He was willing to sit with me and do a fact finder. Had about $500,000 worth of assets built into his business. And so I'm talking to him about, you know, I do his budget. I'm talking to him about a whole life policy where he's putting $1,000 a month into it. And he was interested in it. He liked the features associated to it, the cash accumulation and the tax-free and all that stuff. But I come in imposing my opinion. I talk to him about life insurance. You need to have it because of the life insurance. And if you're not here, this is how much you're leaving for your son and your wife and blah, 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 blah. I literally slapped it on thick. Like it wasn't even thin. I slapped it on thick because my mindset is I'm a dad. He's a dad. We have to see the same point of view, you know? He didn't buy. You know what he said to me? He says, Tony, I want you to understand something. I came into this country. He's Cuban. He says, I came into this country with $5. $5 by myself. Okay. Yes. Hurry up.
He's selling those problems. I left my phone like $2, but like.
Oh, I can't right now. Okay. Sorry. Tell him to come back later if anything. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, $5. He says, I came into this country with $5 in my hands, and now I have a business. You know, I have a house. I have all this stuff. He says, if I leave my son with $10, he has twice the head start. That's literally what he said to me. I mean, you can't argue it. You know what I mean? Some people are very different. Especially, I'm going to tell you right now, and I can tell you, I don't know how it is for other cultures and such, but definitely for the Latino community, it's 100% like that. I mean, I'm telling you, up and down, left and right, the Latino Caribbean community, the Latino Mexican community, they 100%. There's a good population of people that think just like that, right? And so I didn't make the sale. And it was the biggest lesson that I learned, one of the greatest lessons though, because I came back the very next year. And it was right after I came back from this coaching session that I'm talking about. And I said, you know, I imposed my opinion. He was telling me this stuff as we were training him. And I thought of this client. His name is Julio, by the way. And I thought of it, I go, man, I did to Julio what this guy's talking about. I imposed my emotions, my feelings. So I came back to the meeting and I fact found it. See, a lot of you guys sometimes will call me and be like, hey, I got a client and I'm trying to sell him this. What do you think? What's the best product for this? That's how you guys sometimes will call me. Hey, what do you think is the best product for this? My answer is always, I don't know. It depends on what the guy wants. What's his objective? What is he trying to accomplish? You see, I make my sale in my fact-finding meeting, not in my closing. I need to know the urgency and the importance in the fact-finding meeting. I learned, are you more focused on insurance protection or are you more focused on cash accumulation? Are you, what buttons trigger you? See, if you think about an IUL, it does a lot. Death benefit, living benefit, tax protection, creditor protections, cash accumulation, lump sum withdrawal, pension. There's so many things. What of those things is the hot point for that particular client, and hit on that? Don't worry about all the rest of the stuff. All the rest of the stuff is extras. Focus on what they want. So I came back to that client. Well, what are you looking for? Well, I want to find a place to put my money. Right? Okay, well, what do you want that money to do? I want it to grow. Okay. Where do you currently have your money? Well, I have it in the stock market. How much are you making in the stock market? I'm making 12%. Are you happy with that? I'm very happy with that. Okay. So what are you doing with money outside of the market? He says, I don't know. I want to find a place for it. I mean, literally, I'm just fact finding and learning. People will tell you what you need to hear in order to close them. If you just listen, what do you want? I want something that does this, and this. Okay, great. You said it out of your mouth, not mine. Right? If you say it, you own it. If I say it, I gotta defend it. Right? If I say it, I gotta defend it. But if you say it, you gotta own it because it came out of your mouth. So then you know what I did? I came back again and I presented. I said, listen, I have a product at $1,000 a month. Okay, you're gonna earn around 4.5%. It's gonna be on a tax-free basis. It's creditor safe. It's protected from suit of you personally, but it's also protected from suit of your business. You could tap into it before 59 and a half, before retirement without any kind of a penalty. You know what the guy did? He said, oh my God, I want it. Sign me up. You know what I sold him? Same exact product. But I focused on what he wanted. Not my opinion. That was one of the hardest things I had to learn. Because as a Latino, I meet with a lot of Latino communities. And it's hard for me sometimes to swallow that pill of seeing a father who doesn't really care too much about the death benefit side of the business. So I sell them on the living benefit side of the business. You know, I sell them on what's in it for him, right? With him, what's in it for me? What's in it for him? I got to sell them on that. I sell the spouse, the wife. You know what I sell the wife on? What's in it for the family? You know what I sell the husband on? What's in it for me? Unfortunately, that's kind of the way that it works a good majority of the time. It doesn't work all the time, but you don't know if you don't ask. So when you're selling descriptively, pretend you got to sell to a blind person. You can't use an illustration, right? Pretend. How would you do it? You've got to be descriptive. When you're explaining insurance, right? You know what I do? And the other thing that I do is I personalize it. Personification is enormous in the world of sales. You've got to personalize it to them. Personalize it to them. When I'm talking about their kids, I'm using their kids' first names. When I'm talking about him, I'm using his first name, her first name. I'm using their names, right? So for example, if I'm explaining, the good majority of us here know the hustle presentation, right? We know term, right? We know that, okay. But take it to the next level. Here's what I mean by that. If I'm talking to, let's say I'm talking to Walter, right? Walter, how old are you, bud?
34.
34, okay. By the way, does Walter look like he's 34, y'all? I'm telling you, black don't crack, bro. You good. You're doing good, bro. All right, so he's 34 years old, right? This is what I'm saying to Walter. I go, Walter, I can sell you a product. We'll call it a Toyota Camry for all intents and purposes. Okay? This Camry is going to last you for 30 years. So if you're 34, I'm going to take you from 34 to 64. I'm taking you from 34 to 64. That means that at 65 years of age, Walter, there's no more insurance. Now, the way this program works is very simple. You make your monthly payment every single month out of your bank account, and you've got insurance in place. Let's call that insurance $500,000. And you have it from 34 to what? What, Walter? 34 to when?
64.
64. So you see, I'm being very descriptive. I'm not showing an illustration. I'm not drawing. I'm not showing a flip chart, nothing. It's like I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. As a matter of fact, if you notice, I started like this and then I dropped my hands down. Because I want you guys to see you're selling with this right here. That's how you sell on the phone. So Walter, you're covered from 34 to 64, $500,000 worth of insurance. It's going to cost you about $40 a month. But here's the thing, at 65, you have no more insurance. Now, what you do have from 34 to 64 is you've got life insurance if you pass away, but you've also got living benefit insurance, which means I want you to remember these particular conditions: cancer, strokes, or heart attacks. You develop anything like that and a list of other things, you can tap into that money from 34 to when, Walter?
64.
64. And I'm asking questions to make sure he's still engaged. So the benefit to this plan, Walter, from 34 to 64, it costs you $40 a month. The downside is that when you turn 65, you have no more insurance. Nothing left. You've got to go reapply. You've got to call me, see if I'm not retired, and sell you another policy, and cross your fingers that your health didn't change. Let's call that one the Toyota Camry. Right? Now the second car that I have, Walter, let me ask you, what's the upgraded model from the Toyota Camry? What's the high-end version of Toyota?
Was that Lexus?
Lexus, correct. Now, what's different about it? It typically has added features, added benefits, and therefore it costs a little bit more money. Would you agree?
Yep.
I mean, think about it. If you could pick between the Toyota Camry, right, or an IS 250, what would you pick?
Oh, the IS.
IS all day, every day. Looks nicer, drives faster, has some better features, but it costs more money. Now that product right there, it's called a GUL. Can you remember that? GUL.
Yeah.
Right? Now the G is the sexiest part about it. G stands for guaranteed. We like the word guaranteed. If I can guarantee you something. Now, how does this one work? This one will give you insurance from 34 to 100. So the first one is 34 to 64. This one is 34 to 100. So it costs more money, number one, because we're protecting a longer time of your life. Walter, let me ask you something. In what stage of your life is there a higher probability of you passing away? Between 34 to 64 or between 34 to 100?
Till 100.
34 to 100. So because I'm protecting a longer period of time, it costs a little bit more money. It's going to cost, let's call it $100. So instead of $40, you're spending $100, right? You get the same death benefit from 34 to 100. You get the same living benefits as well from 34 to 100. That becomes pretty attractive because think about, Walter, can you think about how you would look like in your 80s? In your 80s, there's a high probability you might need a nurse, isn't there?
Yeah.
And if you need a nurse at that age, would you prefer your children become your nurse, or would you prefer that your kids become the supervisors of your nurse?
Supervisors.
Supervisors a lot better in your 80s. Well, this insurance policy that costs $100 a month, that protects you from 34 till when?
100.
100. Gives you access to nursing features when you need nurses to take care of you. Now, here's another cool thing about it. It's kind of like a savings account, right? I don't know if you put any money in savings on a monthly basis, but if you do, 20 years after you've had this insurance policy, so from 34 to 54, right? 20 years. On the 20th year, if you wanted to cancel this insurance out completely, you could cancel it and get a full 100% refund of all the money you've ever paid in.
Wow.
That's one of the added benefits to this Lexus. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So you spend $40 a month and you get the Toyota Camry. It's only good for 30 years from 34 to 64. Or you spend $100 a month and you have insurance from 34 to 100. But the added bonus, the leather seats, the heated seats edition of this, is that 20 years after you've had this policy, if you wanted to cancel it and turn the policy in, you can get a full 100% refund of all the money you've ever paid. You ready for that word again? Guaranteed.
Nice.
That's the Lexus. Now, let me ask you something, Walter. You know your budget better than I do. Based on those two that I just explained to you, if you and I are sitting right now in a CarMax dealership out in the baking sun, but you need to drive away with four wheels, which of the two cars, based on your budget and based on the value, are you more interested in?
The GUL.
The GUL? Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, let me talk to you about one more car that I have in the very back of the lot. This is the elite of elite. Walter, let me ask you, what's your favorite car? If you could have any car in the world and money wasn't an issue, I mean, you could get the car of your dreams, what would it be?
Ferrari, all day.
All day Ferrari, okay. So we're gonna call this one the Ferrari.
Okay.
I'm gonna show it to you, it's exclusive, it's limited edition. Now, Ferrari has a lot of added benefits. Would you agree the Ferrari costs it's a very different price tag than a Lexus?
Oh, yeah.
Let's pretend this one costs about $250 a month. This Ferrari doesn't last until 100, it lasts until 121. This is no longer a if I die, this is a when I die scenario, number one. Both death benefit and living benefits are included in this. Again, perfect, but it's an investment. What if this insurance policy could make you more money than what you paid into it? Think about that. Think about it. Think about putting $100 a month away times 12, that's $1,200 a year, but knowing that by the end of that year, instead of $1,200 in savings that it's accumulated, you've got maybe $2,000 in savings that you've accumulated. So you're making more money than what you put in. See, this one is an asset. The reason Ferrari, a 1980s Ferrari, will still cost more than a 2020 Lexus is because Ferraris grow in value. They're an asset. They're not an expense. So this Ferrari will last you forever. It'll earn more money than what you put in. And I'll tell you a couple benefits that you might like, maybe you won't. Maybe they're insignificant until you need to know about it. It's tax-free money. You get to earn all that money completely tax-free. And you can't be sued against that money. Oh, and by the way, there's no market risk. Now, let me ask you a question. Without digging in deeper, if those are the only three cars in the market right now, and again, you know your budget better than I do, which of the three cars are you more interested in talking about? The Lexus, the Camry, the Lexus, the Ferrari?
Ferrari.
Okay, so pause for a minute. Do you understand how I get very descriptive with it? Let me ask you guys a question. Did you have a picture in your head of Walter and I sitting in a CarMax dealership looking at cars? Did you see how many times I said the name? I was very repetitive. 34 to 64, 34 to 100, 34. How many times I said 34 to 64, 34 to 64? And I'm asking him questions along the way. I'm doing trial closes along the way. That's how I sell those three products on the phone. That's how I sell them on the phone. I just want to know. I want to know. Now, the same thing applies for final expense. When you're calling a final expense lead, the person's 65 plus, the first thing you want to know, what are they trying to accomplish? They're going to tell you one of two answers. I just want my funeral costs to be covered, or I want to leave something behind for my family. It's one of the two. I just want to make sure my funeral costs are covered, or I just want to make sure I leave something for my family. Okay. The next question that I ask, and I'm a little bit more direct when it comes to final expense, because here's the reality. Most final expense leads are people in limited income. People that are 65 years of age that are wealthy, they don't fill out lead requests. They call their peers and they ask for a referral to some financial advisor, or they go to their existing advisor. So if they're 65 plus, 95% of them, promise you, limited fixed income, which is probably Social Security, which means they're probably making anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400 a month. So that's tight budget, okay? But when I get in the call, that's my first question to them. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you speaking with me. Can you hear me clearly? Yes, I can. Perfect. Right? I want to know if they can hear me clearly. Then I'm going to ask them, well, you're looking for insurance. Let me ask you a question. What are you trying to accomplish? Do you want the funeral costs covered? Or are you just trying to make sure you leave something behind in addition to the family? 90% of the people are going to tell you, I just want my funeral costs covered. Okay. I have two types of plans that we could talk about today, Mr. Client. One plan is called the final expense. The second plan is called the GUL. Let me explain the difference between each of them. A final expense policy is about $10,000 to $30,000 worth of insurance. It'll cost about $50 to $75 a month. You make your payment, you have insurance until the last day you're here on this earth. Pretty simple. Would you agree? Right? Cool. We're going to call that one my final expense. Second policy, it's called a Guaranteed Universal Life, a GUL. This insurance will last you until 100. So it does have an expiration date. It'll last until 100. Okay. And you'll make a monthly payment, but this insurance lets you have more than 30,000 of insurance. This insurance lets you have 100,000 of insurance. And this insurance will let you use that money for nursing assistance if you need it outside of life insurance. So it's life insurance, but it also gives you access to it if you need a nurse. Now that policy, it costs more money. That policy, you're easily looking at $150 to $200 a month. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Client. You know your budget better than I do. You have access to your wallet. I don't. Which of those two are you more interested in from a value standpoint and from a budgetary standpoint? You see how it's kind of plain vanilla. I simplify it down, and I'm talking two products. We're talking, why? Because look, final expense 60, you're not selling IULs to final expense leads, guys. You're not. You're not. Matter of fact, the IUL for a 65-year-old doesn't even make sense. It's just not the right product. A lot of times I come across IULs that were put on a 60-plus-year-old person. It was unethically done. It was done for the commission only. It wasn't because it was, it just wasn't. I think I've sold an IUL to someone in their late 50s, maybe 3 times ever in my career. And it's people that are putting in $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and they're overfunding like by 50, 60%. I'm talking about max funding. And it's just because they just don't want to buy insurance, so they look at it like a savings account. Anyhow, right? So that's how I explain it. And I do this over the phone this way. I do it over the phone. And then it's just a matter of having a dialogue with them. If you're going to sell over the phone, be in a quiet place. If you're going to sell on the phone, enunciate. And if you're going to sell on the phone, don't speak super fast. You've got to intentionally slow yourself down a bit. Does anybody have any questions about that? Your job, paint the picture in their head. Paint a picture in their head. Paint the picture in their head. If you're dealing with mortgage protection leads, that's more the first presentation I give you, because in that one, you can explain term, GUL, and IUL. You just got to make sure in your dialogue, you're talking about the mortgage. Make sure you're referencing back to the mortgage. So Mr. Client, just, if we're looking at one policy, this one's called the term. We're going to call this one the Toyota Camry. This will protect you for the entire life of your mortgage. But after 30 years, when your mortgage is hopefully paid off, this insurance is completely gone, right? The second policy, which is the Lexus, right? It'll last you till age 100. So Mr. Client, if you're 34, it'll take you from 34 to 100. So you know for sure that your mortgage is covered. But I'll give you an added benefit. On the 20th year, if you wanted to cancel this insurance, we'll give you a full refund of all your money. You know what a lot of people like to do with that refund? They like to pay off the remaining balance of their mortgage. I mean, could you think about it? $100 a month for 20 years. You know what that is? I'll tell you right now. It's $24,000 that you get back on the 20th year. That'll probably pay off the remaining balance of your mortgage. Now you just shrunk your mortgage down. That's how the Lexus works. Or Mr. Klein, you could look at that Ferrari. And you know what the Ferrari is going to do? The Ferrari is going to become an asset for you. So when that mortgage is paid off, not only do you have the equity of the house as an asset, but you've got another, $200,000-$300,000 sitting in a savings account with the insurance company. Now you just doubled your value. Right? But you see how all three of them, I'm tying it to the mortgage. Because people hate, I tell you this right now, they hate being pitched something they didn't request. They hate it. They hate it. Don't pitch them something they didn't request. People hate when they ask you a question, you divert it. Now, you ever seen politics where they ask a question, but the answer has nothing to do with the question? And the crowd is like, bro, that's so freaking annoying. You didn't even answer the question. It's the same way. It's the same way your clients act, your prospects act. If they ask a question, answer it directly. If they requested something, present to them something that's tied to what they requested. We all know that life insurance can do more than to cover the mortgage. We know we can do a dime analysis and get, we know that there's more things they need, but their initial focus was the mortgage. Once you get them to agree to what product they want, then you want to say, okay, well, listen, I want you to know that this product can do a lot more than just the mortgage. I mean, let me ask you a question. Is your income 90% is your income your biggest asset that you currently have? Is your income what supports your family right now? It is. Would you agree that maybe paying off the mortgage and replacing, 5 to 10 years of your income might also make sense? Let me ask you something. In that house, who lives in that house? You bought that house for you and who? Well, I bought it for my wife. I bought it for my 2 children. Well, let me ask you a question, Mr. Client. Those 2 kids, do you want to make sure they go to college, whether you're here or not here? I do. What if I could get that covered as well? Right? So first you get them to pick a plan based on what their objective was, the mortgage. Once you get them in that yes mentality, now you show them the more things the more that this can do. And if they're young, throw this out quickly if they're young, okay? I want you to know, Mr. Client, I could cover the mortgage and double that for probably only extra $30, $40. It's like, what, $1 a day? See how I minimize that $30? $1 a day. $1 a day, right? So I have those conversations, but I first got to focus on what they want. Then when I get them in the yes mentality, they know which one they want. Now I show them the things that the added things that these things can do. And I'm reading them. If I'm seeing that they're engaging, I'm interested. If I'm seeing that they're kind of like pushed off, listen, I'd rather, again, make the sale, gain the client, and you can catch them on their birthday for a follow-up and resell other products. Your first sale will never be your biggest sale. So it's a dance. You're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. One thing I'm always doing in every meeting also is I'm always asking for referrals, and I'm always trying to get to know family members. Because believe it or not, there's so much data that people give you in meetings. If you just ask about their family, let them tell you their story. Many times, okay, baby girl. Hey, wait, go comb your hair. You look like a crazy girl. Freaking, it's like a cave woman. I thought it looked like a cave woman about to go outside. But yeah, I mean, just, descriptive, becoming very descriptive in your sales process is important, getting to know them. I'll ask questions like, you have an 18, 19-year-old daughter. Awesome. You have a 20-year-old son. Awesome. Tell me about them. All right. Are they going to college? Are they living at home? Are they looking to move out? Right? Are they in a relationship? Oh yeah, they're in a relationship. They just got engaged or getting married next year. Oh really? When is the wedding? Next November. Boom. You don't think I want to write that note down? Next November, there's a wedding. You know what I'm doing in October? I'm calling. Hey, is your daughter getting married next November? Yeah, she is. Let me ask you a question. Does she have a registry? I'd love to get her a gift. Yeah, she's registered at Target. Perfect. What's her name? You know what that does? That's enormous for the relationship side of it. You know what mom and dad will do if they're the ones paying for that wedding? Now that they know a month in advance that you're going to get them a gift, they'll invite you to the wedding. Now they invite you to the wedding, that is like prospecting heaven. I think I'm playing. Tanisha's there laughing. I'm not playing. I'm being very real. Now you're in. That's nesting. That's working inside of a family tree. They just got married. Congratulations. Right? Put a gift certificate for a free financial consultation in an envelope and give it to them. They have no idea. I mean, look, investment advisors charge a consultation fee. They have no idea that we don't charge for those. No, that's probably that could very well be the best gift that they got. Maybe it puts them in place to have a phenomenal retirement. Everybody else just got them a new toaster. But it gives you that opportunity to ask, learn about people. No, I'm not looking to retire for another year. Boom. I want to learn about them and learn about their future goals, because those future goals are dates that I want to hit them up on. So when people say no, and they say, the sales term where people say no doesn't mean no, no just means not now. Okay, well, I want to know when the now is. When is the yes? And it's typically because of a life-changing event, something that's happened, we just found out that I'm going to be a grandmother. Congratulations. When's the baby due? Right? September 12th. Oh, that's awesome. You know what I'm thinking? September 12th, boy, hitting you up. That baby born? No, it's not. Or yes, it is. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Oh, it's a baby boy. You know what I do? I'm going to send him a little blue diaper bag. I'm going to send him a blue pair of onesies. I think I just went to a baby shower. A 3-pack of onesies cost like $8.99. Send them an $8.99 pack of blue onesies. See if you don't build a relationship with that family. You know why you do? Because their financial advisor, their property and casualty agent, their realtor, and none of those people did that. Their accountant, none of them did that, but you did. You did. You did. Drop by, stop off, drop it off. Here, just wanted to give this to you. You know, congratulations. I know how amazing it must feel, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then don't go for the meeting. Just drop it off and leave them alone for a little bit. And then hit them up later. Hit them up later. That's how you build those relationships. And if either you're catching them at the right time, and if you're not catching them at the right time, when they know they need it, I promise you they'll call you. They will call you. They'll remember you because you did something different. You set yourself apart. I have clientele, and I'll finish because I'm already 8 minutes over, so I apologize. I have more clients outside of the state of Florida than I do in the state of Florida. And I've lived in Florida all my life. I want you to understand that. I have more clients outside of the state of Florida than I do in the state of Florida. Simple. Listen, birthdays, people outside of the state of Florida. You know what business, you know what company has made me so much stinking money? And it's not because I work for the company, but it's just because the company exists. Uber Eats. Uber Eats. You have a birthday coming next month. I'm in Illinois. No problem. Where are you going to be at? Where you work? I work here. Boom. And then shoot them a text. Hey, listen, in 20 minutes, there's a sandwich coming your way from Uber Eats. Happy birthday. Whew. You know how easy that is? You know how stinking easy that is to do that? I have more clients outside of the state of Florida than I do in the state of Florida because of those little itty bitty extras, And this is everything I'm telling you guys over the phone. Notice, I didn't draw anything. I didn't present anything. I didn't share my screen. It's just right here. I said it. I say it and I continue to say it. I could be a floating bobblehead. And in this industry, as long as I can talk, you can make multiple six figures. Have somebody else do illustrations. This is right here what it is. It's right here. It's your mouth. So learn how to become very descriptive. So when you're selling, to close it off, guys, I give you the same tip someone gave me. Pretend you're selling to a blind man. You can't show illustrations. You can't draw anything. You got to paint a picture in their head. They're a white canvas. Can you paint it? Can you let numbers tell a story? 34 to 64, 34 to 100. You put $100 a month in, that's $24,000 after 20 years. Can you imagine getting a check in the mail or a direct deposit for $24,000 in your bank account from one day to the next? Knowing that throughout the time that you were saving, you were protecting your family. When you're in your 80s and you have the highest probability of needing a nurse to take care of you, do you prefer your children become your nurse, or do you prefer your children become the supervisors of the nurse? Right? Mr. Client, isn't it a beautiful feeling? You remember when you first carried your baby? A beautiful moment, wasn't it? He or she's crying in your arm, and you just look like the protective mom or dad that you are. You're proud. It's a beautiful moment. Let me ask you a question. When you're in your 80s and your kids are carrying you and you're crying, do you think it's a beautiful moment? Or do you think your kids are sad? It's a very different experience when your children are holding their parent. Right? Oh man, do you want to try to prevent that? Yes. See how I'm painting that picture in their head? Painting the picture in your head? So what if your children could be the supervisors of the nurses versus being the nurse? What if your son could still be your son and not the one who wipes your butt? It's a picture I'm painting. Do you want this to be a reality? Or do you want this to be a reality? I can protect that. Right? Any questions before I finish off here? Okay. When you get the person, I'll finish here. When you get the person to say yes, they want to take an application.
Got a question.
Go ahead. Sorry, somebody had something.
Anaya is here.
Is that the Galaxy? Do you have a question?
Anaya, I have a question.
Yes. What's your question, bud?
The thing is that in case I would like to sell an IUL, do I have to have a special license?
No, sir. You just need your insurance license. That's it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So when the person says yes to the application, how I do it is very simple. I say, listen, I need about 10 minutes of your time. It needs to be uninterrupted. You need to have a picture. You need to send me a text message with a picture of your driver's license. You're going to need your account number and your routing number. And I'm going to need some information on your doctors. You have 10 minutes to spare. Yes, I do. Okay, perfect. And then all I do is just ask the questions on the phone. Ask the questions on the phone. You do need, if you're not seeing the person face to face, you need a picture of their driver's license. You need a picture of their driver's license. Okay. You don't need to turn that picture into the insurance company. So don't think, oh, I don't need to get it. I just get over the phone. Some people are testing you just to make sure you're verifying who the heck they are. Some people feel safe knowing they're giving confidential information to someone who verified that they are who they say they are, and not just a voice on the phone. Give them that peace of mind. Give them that security of knowing that your stuff is confidential. Their stuff is confidential because they're about to give it to you. They're about to give you everything about them. Okay? Do we need a voided check? No. You don't need to have a voided check on you, in order to sell. I just need the account number and the routing numbers. That's it. That's what I need. And just so you guys know, routing numbers are the same across the board for every company based on the state. So if the person says to me, I bank at Bank of America in the state of Florida, you can go to Google and type up routing numbers, Bank of America, Florida, and you'll see the routing number pop up. If they can't find theirs, you can find form. Account number is the only one that they need to get it. And a lot of banks nowadays, you can just log into the online mobile app and they'll give you the account number right there, no problem. Again, those are little tricks that help, little things that help. But that's how you do things on the phone. That's how you sell on the phone. And I say this because look, a lot of you guys just bought some age leads. Some of you guys already opened up meetings from it. I think Walter had a meeting already. I know that Tanisha has a meeting that I believe on Monday is going to make a decision to buy. I think Tanisha will be making her first sale this coming Monday, right? Hey, there it is. Right, Walter had one. I got a review with him, see how that call went. Guys, our age leads are $2 a pop. You can't get any better than that. They're 31 to 85 days, but the only caveat is the lead will not be to the to the county or city that you live in. It won't be guaranteed, but I will guarantee you the state. I will guarantee you the state that you're in. Why is that important? Because I did this training to sell on the phone because you might be selling on the phone. You might be scheduling meetings with these age leads over the phone. If you can get virtual, it's a different story. Try to get virtual. Get on camera, bring a board, have a board like this ready to go so you can do your things that you need to do. But if it needs to be over the phone, do it on the phone. Do it on the phone. And for those of you that haven't purchased age leads, look, I'm going to tell you right now, I got 50 age leads left in Illinois, $2 a pop. I got 200 age leads in California, $2 a pop. I got 230 left in Florida. I got 66 in Tennessee, although I think that one just got bought. And I got 275 in Texas, $2 a pop. You go to any marketing company, they're selling you these age leads at $4 to $5 a piece. You're getting them for $2 a pop. I don't care. I don't care if you're buying 10 of them. I don't care if you're buying 200 of them. But every one of those leads is an opportunity. If you think about it, you spend $100 and get 50 leads, and you make one sale, you 10x your money. I guarantee you 10x it. But if you're coming to training and you're not buying leads and you're not marketing, and you're not going to networking events, you're not getting names and numbers, listen, you're a broke entrepreneur if you're not presenting your product to somebody new every day. That's my advice to you guys. So don't limit yourself. No, I don't like these leads. They're not in my county. I want to get in my car and drive to them. Listen, now's the best time. Now's the best time to not host meetings face-to-face because of COVID-19, because of the pandemic. Now's the best time. People aren't fighting it any longer. I get some people, oh, can we meet face-to-face? I tell them, unfortunately, I can't right now. Unfortunately, I can't. I can do it over the phone. I can do it virtual, however you prefer, but I can. Which way do you prefer? Boom. Boom. I'll finish it with this. We've been live since January 8th, we went live, but we didn't get contracts in until February. So really, it wasn't February till our first month of turning in business. You ready? We've done 1.2 million of submitted business in the last 6 months. 1.2 million. We've issued a little over 650,000. Congratulations. That's solid, guys. First year FMO out the gates, we issued. That means if we keep going at the pace we're going, we're on track to run to turn in close to 2.2 million submitted. With that number again, that it's important, but that's not the real number. That's not the money number. But we're on track to issue a little over $1 million. That's solid. That's $1 million easily worth of commission that's going to spit out to the agencies. That's solid. And we're doing it virtual. That's the piece. That's why I'm giving you that number. We're doing it virtual. We did it virtual, remote. Accept it now, guys. Let's start really embracing that concept of virtual meetings, embracing the concept of phone call meetings. Embrace it, guys. It's one of the most, in my opinion, it's one of the most liberating things. You guys just saw me right now in my training. I'm training you guys, and I had to stop for just, 2 minutes to talk to, open the door for a little kid that was not going to go see my son. I had to stop my daughter from leaving with crazy hair. I couldn't do that if I had to leave the house early and go to the office. And as minuscule as those little things are, I kind of like it. I kind of like knowing that. I kind of like knowing that the moment I finish this training, I got another meeting in 20 minutes, so I'm going to hop over to the kitchen and make something real quick for the kids to go eat. I like that. I couldn't do that if I had to be in an office in a suit and tie. And the few times that I am in a suit and tie, I'm wearing basketball shorts and flops in the bottom because I'm virtual. Love it. Embrace it. Anyhow, I'm going to let you guys get going. Here's what I want. If you're watching the video and you want to learn more, give me a call. The number is 239-784-1118. But if you're on live right now, I want you to get on the Voxer, get on the group chat. Give me your top 2 takeaways. I challenge you. The challenge is a lot of you on right now. Very few of you guys speak. I challenge you. Get on that group chat. Give me your top 2 takeaways that you learned. And let's see if you want to go ahead and implement some of these things and make some solid money. There's a lot of money out there to be made right now. You just got to capitalize on it. Have a good one. Be blessed. I'll stay on for another minute in case anybody has any questions, but you guys are free to hop off. Bye-bye.
For my part, thank you so much, Tony.
You're very welcome, my friend.